Welcome to Down Sports Podcast, episode 21, the home of sports talk for everyone. I'm David.
I'm Jason.
Welcome aboard. Now, today we have two guests with us from the Harrisburg Senators Fan Club. You guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Go ahead, Matt.
Hi, everyone. Matt Haas here. I am the Vice President of the Harrisburg Senators Fan Club. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate the opportunity to chat with you about the fan club. I'm Brian Williams. I'm the president of the fan club.
Thank you very much for coming on. So most of our pretty much all of our listeners know David and I are big supporters of minor league sports. David, big supporter of minor league hockey. We're both big supporters of minor league baseball, especially our local teams. Where we're located at, we work in Harrisburg, so we can go to Senators games pretty easily. We can hit Reading and see a Reading Phil's game right up 78. So we're big supporters of our local teams, and talking to you guys, we think is a really great thing to foster our listeners' love of minor league baseball as well. So with that, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves, about the fan club, what the fan club does, and we'll go from there.
Excellent.
Sounds great. The modern Harrisburg Senators came back onto City Island in 1987. Of course, there's a storied past beyond that, way back into the 19-teens, 1920s, the Harrisburg Black Giants and all that. The minor league Harrisburg Senators of the 1950s. And there have been a lot of stories and even some books written about the history of baseball on City Island. So there's a storied past there. And there's even an incredible story that goes along with the Harrisburg Senators coming back in 1987. And the roots of the Harrisburg Senators Fan Club got started from the very beginning. They had a welcome back dinner that was hosted by then Mayor Stephen Reed, who was mayor pretty much for life. And he was a big supporter of bringing minor league baseball back to Harrisburg. And so there was a welcome back dinner when the team came to town, and they wanted to have that right before the opening day. And believe it or not, they had one of those every year since, until last year when there wasn't a minor league season. So the roots of the Harrisburg Senators Fan Club began right from the start. And it was generally a group of season ticket holders. And it was more of a social event when it got started. And since then, we're more organized, we've become incorporated, and we've also become a giving organization as well. We supported a Little League team in Harrisburg City for a number of years, and we recently switched over and began supporting the Camp Hill Challenger League, which is a league that's dedicated. It's a little league, all the way up to age 21. And it features players for children with special needs. And so we're very proud to be one of their sponsors as well.
Very cool.
That's awesome. That's definitely awesome.
Matt, you want to get into some of the social aspects? We got bus trips.
Absolutely. Yeah. On a typical year, now again, we're coming off of the year that shall not be named, but we have something going on in every month of the year, except November. Take that one off. But we meet regularly with our memberships, and it's open to the public, super fans, and we'll have a presentation of some sort. Dinner will be served, and we have some small games of chance, and we do some other fun games. We usually have giveaways. It's a social event once a month, and of course, we'll recap everything that's happening with minor league and major league baseball to our guests, and it's a lot of fun. As Brian mentioned, we have the welcome back dinner, which is 2 weeks before the home opener, or the opener, whether they're at home or whether they're away. And it's a big social event. It's a formal dinner, is buffet style. The team will be at the event, and all of the management and all of the coaches, and we'll have a speaker. Usually it's the manager of the Senators will be our host for that event. So it's a great way to meet and mingle and shake hands and get photos and autographs with all of the team that's about to play. It's a great way to kick off the season. So that's our signature event. It's the welcome back dinner. We have a Christmas event too in December. So instead of meeting in December, we will have our Christmas event, and we'll usually have an entertainer come in. Again, a dinner will be served, and that's what we do. Bus trips as well. We manage bus trips to minor league and major league baseball games, where we will take care of your transportation and the admission ticket, and you can join up for one of those and spend a day with super fans from the Harrisburg area, wherever we end up going. We'll go to Reading. We'll go to the Nationals game. We usually go to the last Sunday game of the Washington Nationals at Nats Park. A lot of fun. So the fan club's here. We're active, and it's a lot of fun. And it's a great way to enjoy baseball. When there's no baseball, because we only meet when there's no home game, of course. Like we would never meet on a home game.
That's right. A couple of highlights that we've had in the past, as far as a bus trip. I mean, talk about memorable. Back in 2014, the last game at Nats Park was the Jordan Zimmerman no-hitter, and we were there for that. And nobody sat down after the sixth inning, because it was just a 1-0 game. And that was the one where Steven Souza Jr. laid out in left field to make the final catch to preserve that no-hitter for Jordan Zimmerman, who got a good payout after that season. It was a good time to be a free agent.
That crowd went nuts. When that game ended,
that was
people were screaming at the top of their lungs for about 20 minutes straight. I've never seen anything like that. And, there's 40,000 people in the ballpark.
It was fantastic.
Amazing. Good time.
We didn't have enough people who could commit to a trip to Syracuse when the AAA team. So it was a lot of players that we were familiar with from Harrisburg, because they had advanced to AAA, and even the manager at the time. So I ended up renting a 12-person van and drove us all up to Syracuse for a Saturday night game. We stayed overnight for the Sunday game and then headed back home.
That's pretty cool.
There are all kinds of memories associated with those bus trips, as well as our regular meetings. We do our best to schedule a guest speaker. We've had local broadcasters. One of our favorite guest speakers is Andrew Linker, who was the beat writer for the Harrisburg Patriot for the Senators. So he was with them on a daily basis. And he's a treasure trove of Senators information, as you can tell from his books about baseball on City Island. We've had former Major League Baseball players as well. And then we had stories about the representative for the Christy Matheson family at the Hall of Fame every year. I mean, authors of books, not only about local baseball, but about regional baseball, Hall of Famers like from the Gettysburg area. And so we usually like to have a guest speaker, and they come from all walks of life, but our theme and our connection is baseball, and minor league baseball specific to Harrisburg.
And that's a great thing. Not to beat the dead horse, but like I said previously, we're big supporters of minor league baseball, especially the regional area teams. And baseball is a big unifier. And so I love the fact that you guys, you take these bus trips and you go to other places and you mingle with other fans. And that's the community aspect of baseball that I think a lot of us missed last year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the social aspect of baseball, when you're watching another sport, it's going pretty quickly. And the only time you have a break is when they need a commercial break. But in baseball, it's a social event. And I think you're right, Jason, is that we missed that last year. And we're happy to have that opportunity back to get together and gather with fellow baseball fans and check out some games.
Now, for
Definitely.
people who want to go on these bus trips, whether it be to like you were saying, to league stadiums or to Nats Park, what's the prices of those, so people who want to go along, they know what they're expecting to pay?
Well, we price them to break even, so we don't use our bus trips as a money-making opportunity. So we'll take the cost of the bus and then the cost of the tickets and divide it up, and that's basically what you pay. Typically, it might be around $95, maybe $110, depending on that would be a typical trip to Nats Park, for example. And then if we go somewhere closer, it could be $40, $50, $60. It just depends. It depends. But again, we're not making profit from these trips. It's purely the social aspect. We'll do other things to make money to help sustain, a small stockpile of cash so we can keep the operations going. We have we charge a modest fee for membership. It's $5 a person a year, and then we'll do a small game of chance at our events where it's a 50-50, and then we'll do one fundraiser a year, and
Cool.
that's how we stay afloat.
Like, what type of fundraiser would you normally do?
We do the tickets that follow the 7 p.m. daily number in one particular month, November. So, or I think it's when is it, Brian? Yeah, November.
Mm-hmm.
So you buy the ticket, and then every draw you'll have a chance to win. And weekends are more. And then if you get Black Friday,
Right.
that's the big one. So those are very, very popular as well.
Cool.
Nice. So now, when you said about going to minor league, what's the furthest you would go for a minor league game?
That is a good question, because when you're organizing these events, if you book it too close, people are like, well, I can just go there myself. And if you book it way far away, and you have to do an overnight stay, well, then it gets really expensive, because then you have to tack on. Well, Brian, how far we wanted to go to Duncan Park, but that didn't quite. We almost went there. Where is that?
I think the farthest one that we have done was to Portland, and then the next day at Fenway Park. And that was when the Red Sox affiliates, they would choose one of their affiliates to play at Fenway Park once a summer, and in July. And it happened to be Portland's turn for Double-A, and the Sea Dogs just happened to have the Senators on the schedule, and we said, guess what? We're going to put a trip together to go to those games. So we boarded the bus early Saturday morning and went all the way to Portland, Maine.
Wow.
And checked into a hotel, and then took the bus to the Portland ballpark. The next morning, we all climbed aboard the bus and went to Fenway Park, and we got to see the Sea Dogs host the Senators at Fenway Park. And that's the closest seat I've ever had at Fenway, because we were right behind the Senators dugout.
So that'd be something neat to see, the Harrisburg Senators at Fenway Park. I mean, that'd have to be, just something awesome to see.
Absolutely, David. It was a thrill for the players and coaches to be there.
Yeah, because how often we play at Fenway Park, at that level,
Right.
You can see that historic stadium.
Exactly.
You know,
And it was a first trip for a lot of the people that went on the trip. So it was a thrill all the way around. It was a great
good
trip.
memories, and you know, and like we said, earlier, a big social event, and to have it that at an historic stadium like Fenway, you can't get any better.
Exactly.
Because that's one thing that has been missing from baseball, not just this past season, but in general, is just people getting together and just experiencing just baseball itself, not just with the major teams, but also the minor league teams as well. Because I know how many times, Jason, we went to a game with Lancaster Barnstorms at one point.
Yeah, we've
Right.
I mean, we've tried to hit most of the regional teams. And look, I'm a huge Phillies fan, and it was great to watch the Phils last year. But there's something special about minor league baseball that I know I missed a great deal last year. So games coming back, we're definitely going to be at Senators games at some point this season.
Oh yeah,
It's one of my favorite parks to visit, not just as a fan, but as someone who appreciates the game. Beautiful ballpark, great setting, totally unique atmosphere. It's just a great place to catch a game.
Yeah, the island is something special. That City Island is a very cool place to be. You can tell as soon as you're on the island. This is something pretty neat.
Yeah.
Well, it's a unique location. It's not like your typical in-city place. It's on an island. It's
right.
It's one of the best places.
I believe it's still the only professional team that plays on an island.
Now, on previous episodes, we've talked about stadium food. When you guys go to watch the Senators, what is the food you guys indulge in? Because I love the spot.
There's only one answer. It's the spot dog, baby.
Oh,
those chili
that's
dogs.
Where I was going
to.
Well, baseball food is a lot of times always the best.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
They should come with a defibrillator because
Well, the first one I had there, it was me, my brother, my nephew, and as soon as I had one, I was like, "Should I get another one?
Oh yeah.
Yep, I should get another."
They'll do steaks. They'll do steak subs as well, and they'll pour the chili sauce on your steak subs, and that's often overlooked.
Good stuff. Yeah, you're right.
Oh,
let's see, David, you missed out on the spot when it was an actual restaurant. Like
on 2nd Street, yes.
When I started working, when I started working downtown, I would go there for lunch on paydays. And then it closed not too long after I started working downtown.
Yeah, they had the Junkyard Dog was one of their at the restaurant in Harrisburg. I haven't seen the Junkyard Dog at the spot inside the Senators, but they'll have their other creations. They'll have the Hot Mess and the Heater and a few others. I just get the spot dogs with everything, which is the mustard and then the chili and then the dog itself. That's the way I go.
That's what I do too. I just order 2 up and there they come. Nice. But my wife is a big fan of the hot mess.
They have other things on the island. They have Aruga's wings are there as well. So if you like wings, they've got them. And then your typical ball food. They've got other hot dogs, which are far inferior to the spot dog. Chicken wings and fries and anything you want pretty much is there. So,
great. Now I'm hungry for a hot dog and wings.
Well, it's a little too late now.
Just a tad. Oh man. Well, it seems like the Senators Fan Club definitely just do a lot of things, a lot of good things, especially just to have that social event, that social around, to bring people together.
Oh yeah, it's very popular. It's very popular, and it's a very casual evening. I mean, like you eat dinner while we're doing our presentation. It's very informal. Come as you are. And it's just a lot of fun. The focus is on fun, and we have a lot of fun.
Well, that's all it's about. That's all it's about. So on that note, that would be the end of period 1. We'll be right back after a short break.
What's up? My name is Matt Derlin, and I'm here to tell you about the 2 podcasts that I host on the Club Kayfabe Creative Community's CKCC Radio. The first is called By the Numbers, where I interview wrestlers whose matches I have refereed in my nearly 20-year independent professional wrestling career. Tune in and hear the stories of the matches and the stories behind the matches themselves. My other show is called The A Show, co-hosted by Chris Decker. Each episode, Chris and I are joined by 1 or 2 special guests, and together we hold a mock draft based on a specific year and wrestling promotion, and then build cards based on our drafted rosters. You, the listener, decide who has the best card by voting on our Twitter poll each episode. You can hear By the Numbers and The A Show Mondays at 9 a.m., alternating weeks on CKCC Radio, wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, welcome back to period 2 here. Senators team history. Now, being we have the fan club on board here, be a perfect way to do this. Have the fan club right with us.
So one of the things I remember you saying in the first period, Brian, was that the team hadn't had baseball in the city for quite a long time, and I think that dated back from 1952, correct?
That's right. That was a long time.
And you said there was a story about how the team came to be. Do you mind sharing that story with us?
Well, there was a lot going on. There was a AA franchise that was for sale, and Mayor Reed really wanted that franchise to come to Harrisburg. And there was another group that wanted to buy it out from under him. And so, long story short, Harrisburg finally won out, and they had to get the field prepared to be ready for the 1987 season. And of course, for opening day, it rained. And so they actually had helicopter come in and keep the rotors moving and hover over the field to try to dry the field, because back in 1987, there wasn't the kind of drainage systems that we have on professional baseball fields today. So everything seemed to be working against the city of Harrisburg to get this team. And finally, it came to fruition. And they ended up winning a championship that year. In fact, at the time, I was program director for 97.3, which is now the River. And that was when it was the WHP conglomerate with AM/FM TV, one of the few remaining conglomerates at that time. And they didn't have a radio affiliate. So finally it came together that 580, which was WHP AM, they became the radio affiliate. That again happened pretty much at the last minute. So they're all scrambling for advertising to try to get that inaugural season underway as well. But as a Pirates affiliate, they ended up winning the championship at the end of the 1987 season. Nobody saw that coming. And so it's been pretty storied ever since. A few years later, 1993, of course, the Pirates were out, the Expos were in, and the Expos had some pretty good runs, even though they never had won a World Series. They kind of got cheated back in 1981 with the strike and the split season. They got cheated again in 1994 with the strike, but their affiliates were doing pretty well, and they had some incredible talent. I mean, when you come down to the ballpark and you come to FNB Field and you see the life-size bobbleheads, and you take a look at some of those players that had played for the Montreal Expos, and you think, wow, they all played here. They played here as Harrisburg Senators, and they ended up winning a championship in 93. And then, of course, the coup de grace was 96, 97, 98, and the Milton Bradley storybook blast to end the 1999 season, again, in pouring rain, a full count with the bases loaded. And about 2.5 million people will tell you that they were there.
Well, of course.
Now, and speaking of that first season, and I had mentioned it to Matt before we recorded the first period, in my research, dating back into the Senators' history, they actually stopped the potential for peat from the Vermont Reds when they beat them.
Isn't that phenomenal as well? So not only did they prevent Vermont from going into the history books, but then a little more than a decade later, they did it themselves. And
Right.
They forfeited.
And another thing you had mentioned about them getting the field ready. I like watching a lot of the videos on Penn Live. I think they have a lot of great historic videos of the surrounding area, and they happen to have one detailing how the stadium was built in 86 and 87. And I mean, they were literally doing work right up until that first game.
That's true.
They called it an erector set of a ballpark. They just
Hey, it worked.
bolted it together.
And speaking of that, like, I'm a big ballpark nerd, and for how maligned maligned the old stadium was and how beloved the new one is, even by fans that aren't Senators fans, speaks very high of how far they've come in just that aspect.
The big improvement, you're right, the FNB Field is a gorgeous ballpark. It's got a boardwalk all the way around. I mean, it has a lot of improvements over the old one, but the biggest improvements, the old one had pillars and they had obstructed seats. Now there's no pillars. It's modern architecture, baby. We love it.
Absolutely. Not a bad seat in the house now. But even the stadium lights were on telephone poles that obstructed views. They were between the seats and the field.
Yeah, they did it right for sure.
Center.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous ballpark.
Yes, it is. Now, this has to go to not just for baseball, but also minor league in the central PA area, because with the Hershey Bears winning the championships they have, and then the Harrisburg Senators winning what they have, I mean, that has to be, great for central PA, just for, minor league teams and what they produce.
We have a lot of fans that are huge Bears fans and Senators fans. Yeah.
And also with a lot of talent going up from the minor leagues to MLB or NHL, from Hershey to the Washington Capitals, and then how many Senators now we see in national uniforms. So that has to be something great just for the history of that.
Oh yeah, and the front office keeps track of how many players have moved on to Major League Baseball. There is a number.
Yes.
I can get that.
And it's in the hundreds. I'm not sure what the exact number is right now, but they have a running total, and they have the list by name and the season that they debuted in the major leagues.
Yeah, it's just something that it's just something when you see. Well, Jason, we went to a game where Harper was down.
I was at a few games in Harper's season when he was with the Senators. But I still think there's big things to come from him if he can stay healthy, which this season's a bit of a struggle. But I'm noticing that's a struggle MLB everywhere. Everyone's having an injury struggle this year. That might just be the transition from 60 to a full season. Now, two former Senators that we both know who played with the Phils were Matt Stairs and Cliff Lee.
Yes. Matt Stairs, his personality really came out when he became a Phillies broadcaster.
It did.
When he did that, he was so funny. He was great on the air, I thought, and told it like it was, kind of like Crook does.
And Stairs always was this kind of stoic, brooding kind of player. He was very quiet. He came in, did what he had to do, and then like that total 360 on the games is tremendous. You're right.
I know. He came to life behind the microphone.
Now, obviously, the Milton Bradley home run is Senators lore at this point. What was it like in the stadium that night?
I wasn't one of the 2.5 million that were there.
I set myself up for failure there.
Of those 2.5 million.
Yeah. Although Matt and I do know people who were there, and they said it was electric. It was just incredible. I mean, those are the dreams that we had as little leaguers. We'd go to bed and we'd dream that, hey, we're going to be in a situation with the bases loaded and 2 outs and a full count, and we're going to hit the game-winning grand slam. And it actually happened. It was unbelievable. It happened for him. And that was just an amazing comeback.
And that's, I mean, those four seasons were
Memorable.
historic and yes, memorable,
Mm-hmm.
very much, David.
And I was talking to some of the fan club members that were members for that long of a time, and the fan club was hopping. Everyone wanted in the fan club during those 4 years. So
I can only imagine.
I mean, it's hard enough to go back to back, but to go 4 straight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. Well, it's hard enough to win one.
Exactly.
I mean, how many teams out there have not yet to win one, but then go back to back? Okay, that's hard enough to do. Then go a 3-peat, and then do a 4 straight.
Yes. And as a minor league franchise, you're always losing your best players.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole idea, is to have them move up to the next level and then up to the major league level. So they're just bringing in other parts that are just fitting perfectly for that 4-year stretch. That was just phenomenal.
Yeah, and well, like you said, just to lose your best players to go up to the pros, which is great to see.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great to see that to go up to the to the top team, but to still have that core enough to to keep that intact. That's because after a season, restructuring and contracts and all that for different teams, but to still keep that all together.
it was something else for sure.
It's not easy to do for any franchise.
And the fact that like we just said, they went 4 straight and 6 total.
Mm-hmm.
It's still it's still great to have that type of Central PA championship runs.
And I think if I am correct, before the Eastern League became the AA Northeast League, the Senators were the current active teams, had the most Eastern League titles, if I believe I'm correct. I think there was one team that was close, but they weren't tied or anything.
Yeah, if anybody's close, it would be the Yankees. It would be, but you're right. I don't think anybody else has that many. So the Senators are out in front.
Yeah. And I mean, go ahead, David. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, it's just one of those things where it's just it's just hard to fathom. Like, wow, we're a team in our backyard this successful,
right?
At that top notch level. To see all these players go up to the Nationals, or even just past players go to, at the time, their respected clubs, like between the Expos, the Pirates, and that. Is just still remarkable for a PA team.
And
don't forget, we'll get some Nationals players playing in our park if they're coming off an injury and they have to play. So that's a big treat when you see MLB playing on the field that has a Senator. That happens every now and then too. That's very special.
Yeah, you're right, Matt. There was a magical night with Steven Strasburg starting for the Senators, throwing to Pudge Rodriguez, who was on an injury rehab, and I think there were a couple other players in there as well. And everybody was so pumped to see Strasburg. I think it was his AA debut. And here Pudge was going to catch him. And didn't the power go out that night? All the stadium lights went out.
Yes.
There was so much energy in the ballpark, and it was packed. it was, I forget the attendance for that night. I should have researched it before coming on, but that was just an incredible evening. And then there was a delay until they could get the lights to warm back up again after they had gone out.
I think my son was like 11 at the time, and he was there, and that was great. That was great.
Yeah, especially when you see stuff like that. I mean, like you said, it's just that, hyped up, that you're just so excited to see the players you normally don't see in a small area. Not like you go to let's say Philadelphia, or down to a Nats game, those where they sit. You come to City Island.
Yes.
You're coming to an area that size.
And you're a lot closer to them. And that's the way spring training used to be. Spring training, the players would walk in the same way the fans did back in the 80s. And spring training wasn't that big of a deal back then. And then Major League Baseball said, hey, we can make some money at this. So they ended up protecting the players more, let's say. But again, it was a social aspect, not only fan to fan and meeting fans from other parts of the country, and going to Dunedin, meeting fans from Canada who would go down for spring training, but even with players, you could chat with players. I remember Pete Rose parking his car in the same lot where I was, and then taking his gear and walking into the clubhouse at Jack Russell Stadium. Yeah, and getting a picture with my wife and Steve Lake at in St. Petersburg in the parking lot. And of course, my thumb was over the part where Steve Lake was, so it just looks like a smiling photo of my wife in front of the stadium.
No. Oh man!
But we actually went to Clearwater Beach for our honeymoon, and I have friends who still worship me because, how did you ever get your wife to go to spring training for your honeymoon? And I said, well, she wanted to get married on her grandparents' anniversary, which was March 5th. So it just worked out great. We saw baseball every day.
Yeah, we try that now. It'd be like, no. There would be no hesitation. Yeah, no. Now, it is one thing that I do like with players nowadays, whether it be in the minors or in the pros, where how they interact with the fans. I remember how many times I've watched of just videos of just outfielders playing catch with somebody in somebody in the stands, or just randomly going over to the side and hey, hand me that ball, or hey, here's a ball, here you go. It's just so nice to see that, and that's what keeps fans coming. That's what keeps fans involved. And to see, the guys, let's say from the Nationals going down to the Senators to, for, like you said, injury training and all that, to see that type of interaction, how many of those fans have just got a memory for life?
Players are very approachable on City Island, for sure.
Especially kids, who, they love the game now. They have that interaction, they're going to love the game for life.
And that's right, because they will always remember those things.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that we haven't talked about that the team does, and actually the fan club really helps to network and support the activity of host families, because there are a lot of minor league players who make the AA level who aren't financially sufficient. And it could be because they're not from this country, or they weren't a bonus baby. And so that's the majority of the players that make the AA level. I mean, they're so amazing at their craft. If you watch them in BP or just taking short toss, it's incredible. They never miss. But financially, they're just not able to make it unless they live like 6 to an apartment. So the solution is host families. And there are a lot of people in this area. Some of them are season ticket holders, and they have an extra space. And we help to coordinate getting host families with players. And it could be one player, could be multiple players. And boy, talk about a way to build a personal relationship with a professional baseball player.
Oh, yeah.
The memories that some of those people have are just, they're lifelong. And, from 10, 15 years ago, guys who are out of baseball now, and they still keep in touch with their host family because they're staying with them whenever the team is at home over the summer for as long as they're a Harrisburg Senator. So you build a lot of memories and a lot of great personal relationships with players that way.
One of the things we talked about in an earlier episode in talking about our local minor league and independent ball teams was Brian Harper. When he was a Nat, he stayed with the host family. And then when he finished his career up 2 seasons ago in Lancaster as a barnstormer, he stayed with the same host family as he did when he was a Senator. And he would travel from Harrisburg to Lancaster for his games because he had that bond with that family.
Wow. So I wasn't even aware of that. He was such a nice guy to talk to. One thing that he and I disagreed on was putting the runner at second base in extra innings. I'm not old. I'm too old school for that. And he liked it. He said, it saves pitchers. You gotta just get used to it.
My dad feels the same way.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me.
Well, we first saw that rule when we went down to Hagerstown for a game.
Yep.
To put the runner on second. Because because at that point I never heard of that, and I was like, "What's going on?" And it's like, okay, now I see. Okay.
One of the things I wanted to touch on, especially with talking about fan interaction, what I love about minor league baseball is that the team's front office are just as involved in fan interaction as the players, as the mascots. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a game and there's the general manager with the wand guiding people out of the parking lot and making sure they get there safely and talking to people and interacting. And that's the stuff I love about minor league baseball, is that almost family feel you get when you go to a game.
Oh, for sure. When they had the T-shirt cannon, the president, Kevin, was out there with the T-shirt cannon firing T-shirts. They're not doing that in 2021, but he did do that. And they have the all-male review, so they have all the managers, 4 managers dressed up in brightly colored suits, and they dance out on the field. It's called the all-male review. And it's the president, it's the manager, and it's
that's great.
Box office president. Yeah, it's fun.
I think there's a picture of David and I from maybe 10 years ago when they had a young guy who looked a little bit like Waldo, and they would dress him up like Waldo, and you would have to find him in the stadium.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, that was a fun promotion.
That was it's the promotion that just people just like, okay, now we got to find him. It's all interaction.
Right.
And the Senators, I think they do it right. A lot of teams that I've been to, some go overboard with the in between inning stuff and the music and this. And I think the Senators have a really great mix of in between inning entertainment and focusing strictly on the game, so that you're never taken out of the game, and they keep the young kids amused enough that they still want to watch the game.
Yeah.
They'll do a couple things with kids, and then they'll do a couple things, with adults, and usually adult fans, where they'll throw balls that you have to catch, or do a race, the president's race, the mini president's race, because the Nats have the racing presidents, but they'll dress little kids up as Washington and Lincoln, and then they'll run.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's fun.
So now here's a big question: favorite place to sit?
Jason, you took my question. So I just thought of that.
Oh.
I don't want to give away my perfect seat position. I like to sit in the stands behind home plate. Now, not right up front. I like under the roof, because I can see the ball go over the plate. So I'm not right behind the ump. I'm sort of off to the side a little bit. So that's section 204 is the further back section right behind the plate. And I think if you can get seats there towards the aisle, you can see that ball go right over the plate without the ump obscuring it. But Brian said it right at the top of the show. There's not a bad seat in the house. There really isn't.
There isn't. But I have to say, I like section 204 as well. My reasoning is I can see the game, and then I can also catch what the scouts are writing.
Yeah.
Nosy.
I am nosy, but I love that. Like, I love that these guys are here watching these players and they're making their notes, and it's fascinating to me. So
Yeah.
I like 204 as well.
Yeah. Fun story. My son and I were at the park, and he was 10, and he would go off and he would go get something to eat and come back. He was kind of running around, and he says, "Dad, I met someone from MLB." I was like, "You met someone from MLB?" I'm like, "No, you didn't." He goes, "Yeah, I did." And he hands me his business card. He was talking to one of the scouts. I just went up and started. I didn't even know about it.
Oh, that's great.
That is awesome.
That is great.
He shut me down. He had the business card.
It's like, really, Dad? Here. Oh, that's awesome.
My son was also a bat boy for one season. Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
When he was 16.
That's cool. That's memorable for sure.
Yep. He came home with a lot of hats, because he would have the hats that the players wore without, the ballpark logo on it. It was just the Senators logo and then the cap maker logo, but no other promotions were on it. And he had one for away, he had one for home, he had one for any special hat they had for a color combination he would come home with. So that was a lot of fun.
That's great.
Yeah. That was in 2016. That's when he did it.
Yeah, I always found that the barstool seats are always the good ones.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of good times at the Barstool seats. My one buddy, he's got the season tickets for the Barstools for Thursday's games. He has, he managed that. So a lot of times I'll come out on Thursday games and just hang out in the Barstools, and we'll carry on and we'll eat, and we try and get the players to throw the ball up if they catch it in center field. So we'll say, "Yo, up top."
Yeah.
I know my brother. He has season tickets for the bobblehead promotional games for the Barstool seats. He has a couple of games out there, which I know some of those games me and Jason will be going to as well.
So hopefully we run into you guys or can meet up and.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
We're not hard to find. As Brian said, I'm not one to just stay in my seat the whole time. I'll usually get up and visit different parts of the park and stuff like that. So I'm very active when I'm there. It's a lot to do. A lot of good fun to have.
Well, Brian, where's your favorite place to sit?
Well, when they first renovated the stadium, I was in 112, and that's the section that's right above the Senators dugout. And it was really neat to see them, and you could see the players' reactions as they were coming off the field after an inning. So they get that third out, and you can see like celebrating a great defensive play, or a pitcher celebrating that he dominated the last hitter of the inning, and things like that. Or even coaches coming off, because normally the manager will coach third base, and you can see him coming right down the line to come into the dugout. So just being able to see their reactions, that was fun. So we were there for a number of years, and then moved over to the third base side in section 105. So that's kind of almost lined up with third base.
Then you can see into the Senators dugout from that vantage point, which is good.
No,
As you said, there's no bad place to watch the game. Really is.
No, when my dad had season tickets, I think we were in 206 when he had season tickets.
Right. Yep.
So he had never gone to a Senators game, and I'd been to Senators games. So my wife and I, we took my family to their first Senators games, and they fell in love with it to the point where the next season they had season tickets.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good deal.
So that was, I think, the season that right after my daughter was born is when they had season tickets, and they had them for a few years after. So we were always guaranteed a few games during that time. One more question, since David and I are big logo guys. What are the feelings of the Mayfly logo? Because I know it's a big hit for people who aren't from the area. They think it's absolutely hilarious, and I think it's just it's tremendous because of the history of the field.
Well, there were rumors that they were going to rebrand as the Mayflies, and the thinking from management, in my opinion, this was just all rumors, was, everyone's going to rebuy all of their merch. I was talking to the general manager, and I said, I hear there's a rumor about this, and that the thinking is people will rebuy all the merch with that logo. I'm here to tell you that's not going to happen. So.
No, a rebranding would be a terrible idea because it's a historical name for the area.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And baseball's history rich, so we want to keep that.
Yeah, I mean, as we said, it is on an island, and mayflies originate from the river. So there are mayflies on the island, especially in the dead of summer. But it's just part of the fun. They'll have a mayfly meter. Well, they'll rate the mayflies. And they have
sitting there like swatting.
They have the dance like a mayfly. They'll give you like a 3-foot mayfly cut out cardboard head, and then you dance with the mayfly. Anyway, but I like that. This is what it should be right there.
Oh, that's funny.
I think if you're going to have a quirky logo, at least have a quirky logo that has meaning to the team and the surrounding area. And I think the Mayfly is a great alternate logo.
Yeah.
There are some odd names in minor league baseball. And I think, I don't know why some of the names are so odd. Now, of course, Harrisburg Senators is spot on. Nothing odd about that. But there are some odd names. I think these rich families buy these teams, and they're affluent, and they're what do you call it? I don't know. They just, yard goats. Like,
yeah.
how can you get excited for yard goats? But okay.
Well, we did an episode of weird team names.
Oh.
Eccentric. That's what I'm thinking of. These rich, eccentric families. I don't know. I'm not getting the weird names, but
the Disco Turkeys was one we had discussed.
Yes, that one. Yes,
which is a peacock. One. For the record, it's a peacock.
Yes,
but this team is the Disco Turkeys.
But yeah, the Harrisburg Senators are definitely rich with history. Even when it comes down to not just with how with the stadium, but with their winnings, and how they're a very successful team going from minors to pros with the players, and how family based they are, which is a huge thing.
Sure. Why don't you gentlemen let everyone know where they can find you online, how they can join?
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. It's easy. senatorsfanclub.com. That's our main source. The way we communicate is through our email newsletter. So when you go to senatorsfanclub.com, there'll be a green box that says join our newsletter. You should do that as well. And so the newsletter sign up is separate. So even if you're a member, you have to put yourself on the newsletter. That's something that you have to do. And we have a Facebook page, which is Senators Fan Club. So if you go to facebook.com/Senators Fan Club, that's our Facebook page. And we do communicate to the public through the Facebook page, but we encourage people to get on the email mailing list, because you know how Facebook is. Sometimes you see the notice, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it shows up in your wall. You don't usually check the page on your own very often. Sometimes you do, but it's the email newsletter. We communicate through email. So get on that. It's at senatorsfanclub.com, and like the page, put the thumbs up on the page. We would appreciate that as well. Click this on Senators Fan Club Facebook page. That's how to do it. And you can sign up for membership at our website. And when we're doing when we're selling tickets to the dinners, you can buy tickets from the website. And when we're selling bus trips, you can buy your bus ticket from the website. So that's where we're at. We could be many other places online, but that seems to be what we can stay on top of and manage properly. So,
That's awesome.
And yeah, Matt does a tremendous job promoting, and he built out the website, started the Facebook page a number of years ago as well. And they both come in handy to allow us to get the word out on events and just to let people know that we're here. And we invite everybody to join us and become a part of that social event, because when I go to a game, somebody's going to see me sitting in the section, and they're going to come down and they're going to chat for a while. And then somebody else will come down and chat for a while. I'll go for a spot dog, and 2 more people will chat with me. So it's a social event. That's what baseball is, and that's what the fan club's all about.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. So on that note, that'd be the end of period 2. We'll be right back after a short break.
Baseball fans, check out the Baseball Together podcast. Your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Kansas City Little Big Broogie Blue Eyes, present new episodes for the entire baseball family every Tuesday. Available on all your favorite podcast apps and YouTube. Come join our baseball family where we do baseball together.
All right, welcome back for the third period. Just to give a shout out to Matt and Brian of the Harrisburg Senators Fan Club. Great to have them on.
They were awesome. They were tremendous.
A lot of history that we've got to know, and a lot of ways to be more involved with the Harrisburg Senators, as a fan, and not just going to a game, but more involved things.
All right, and I want to say this to all of our listeners: support your local minor league sports team, be it baseball, hockey, soccer, whatever minor league is in your area. Support them. Give them your money. Give them your loyalty. It's a great way to enjoy sports and interact on a local level with professional teams. Matt and Brian were awesome.
Yes, absolutely. And plus, with minor league teams, it's like they said that some of them aren't financially set, so they have to have host housing.
Right.
So, and these players then just love to play the game that much. That doesn't matter about the financial aspect. They just want to play the game.
I know one of our listeners, Kevin Dignam, he lives near the Cape Cod Collegiate League. He's a big supporter of them. And that's not even minor league ball. Those are college guys playing in the summer to get noticed by scouts. So definitely support your local organized sporting teams, be it minors, be it whatever. So you're always going to get good stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we just finished the NHL beards.
Yeah.
And Joe Thornton took it.
Let me tell you how frustrated I was that Joe Thornton and Ryan Ellis were the final matchup, because they tied previously, and I had to split them up and put them into a semifinal situation. I'm like, I swear, please do not. These guys tied. I don't want them in the finals. And then they were in the finals, and thankfully they did not tie. Joe Thornton ran away with it.
Yeah.
Someone in my background picture is in the finals.
I just found it funny how they tied and then they met again.
I think I said something like the return or the rematch or
something like that. I forget what it was. Still, it's just the funny part that it happened once, and then, like you just said, no.
I had it ended in a tie, I wouldn't have known what we were going to do. Because I certainly wasn't going to put them up for a third time.
Well, best 2 out of 3 then.
Yeah.
At that point. That was funny though. It's like, oh my god, again. But like you said, Joe Thornton ran away with it, so he's representing the NHL.
Yes, yeah, and that's awesome. Like I said, I've got one person in my background photo in the finals. So in the finals, we got Charlie Blackmon from the Colorado Rockies representing MLB. We got Jonas Valanciunas from the Grizzlies representing NBA. Ryan Fitzpatrick from the Dolphins representing the NFL. And the aforementioned Joe Thornton of the San Jose Sharks representing Maple Leafs.
There you go.
Maple Leafs. Toronto Maple Leafs representing the NHL. Good Lord. This is going to be tough.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting round of these between them all, just because of, well, they're voted best.
They're the representatives for their league, yeah.
So it's going to be I feel this one will be a tight one, despite who goes up against who. I feel it's going to be a tight one all the way through.
I think there's one who has the best chance of losing.
I mean, who now? You picks? Let's do picks.
All right, you go first.
I'm saying Thornton.
Thornton for the win?
Yes, Thornton for the win. Not just because I'm a hockey fan, but I think he has the beard to, he has the size of a beard to do this. So that's my pick. I'll probably lose, which whatever, but I'm picking Thornton.
I'm gonna go with Mr. Fitzmagic himself, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
There you go. Now, we'll be surprised and they'll get knocked out and all that fun stuff.
The person who I think is going to be the first one to lose will probably be the person to win it. So I'm going to say right now, I am not going to be surprised if Jonas Valanciunas wins the best beard in professional sports.
Is that who you had to pick to go out first?
Yeah, I think his beard is the weakest among the four. I think Fitzpatrick has the best overall beard. I think Thornton has him on length, but I think they're comparable as far as bushiness. I just think overall Fitzpatrick's beard is freaking Fitzmagical.
It's magical. Get that on a shirt.
I'm sure it is a shirt. I know there's at least two people. I'm sure there's at least two people who are cracking up over me saying Fitzmagical when they listen to this. So those two people, they're going to love it. We don't play to big crowds. I'm here to make 50,000 people laugh. I'm making 2 people laugh.
Yeah, there you go. That's all we can do. But yeah, no, it's going to be between the 4. It's going to be interesting. And it's going to be interesting.
It's kind of crazy that next episode we're going to be announcing who the winner is.
Yeah, 5-episode run of this.
Yeah, and it's been awesome. The interaction from the listeners. We've been having people share them. We've been having people comment on them, and that's the whole reason we're doing this, is just to get some interaction with the fans, see what they're thinking, see what their thoughts are, and this has been fantastic. Can't say.
Oh yeah, just the interaction, just the fun this is. Just how fun this. Just trying to because not a lot of people are like, beers, why beers, and it's like all of a sudden like, oh, these people really grew out beards.
And I really like that I've seen a lot of the same people voting.
Yeah.
That's awesome to me that these people are voting and they're coming back every day to vote and they're digging it. So that means we've hit onto something here.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been nice to see a lot of the interaction.
Exactly. And that's all we can hope for. Really.
Yeah. So, it's the whole point is, just have fun, interact with it. So it's, one we should do like a series of logos.
What do you mean?
We're talking about, we talk about the minor leagues, which one they think they're the best minor leagues.
Oh, shoot. That's a great one. That is a great idea.
That's something that we could do. That'd be something to, pick the minor league teams of different leagues and,
Well, in that case, you could do like a month of just AA teams, a month of AAA teams, a month of A teams, and then have whatever. We're figuring out on the air here, people.
On the fly.
On the fly.
That's how we do it.
That's a heck of a great idea, though. I like that. There might be more tournaments in the future. And
might be.
And speaking of tournaments, friend of the show, Matt from the A Show, on his Matt's Tournaments Facebook page, they are currently doing the best sports franchise of all time tournament.
Oh.
Yes, and I did give him the heads up that I'm going to be mentioning this on the show. So he knows this is coming.
Well, that's actually a good one.
It would be a good one. A lot of people are voting more for their favorite franchise than who is really the best franchise. Like the Yankees got out based on hate votes.
Oh, go figure.
Even though
they have more ships
right.
Of what's there. So like the Patriots are going to be out just because everybody hates the Patriots.
I don't even remember if the Patriots made it. If anyone, because it's in Matt's tournament group, people basically they nominate. So if there's someone like I didn't nominate anyone in that one because all the teams I would have nominated were nominated. But like they're doing a best worst or no, a worst actor and actress one right now as well, and I nominated an actor and an actress in it. I'm trying to look and see what the current teams that are up for vote are. One is the Dodgers against the Bulls. The Bulls are running away with it. I did not vote for the Bulls. I voted for the Dodgers, even though I was a Bulls fan. As a sports fan and someone who loves the history of these things, the Dodgers' overall history of success is much longer than the Bulls. The Bulls had that great run in the 90s, but that's
the 90s.
Right. They never did it before, and they haven't really done it since. The Dodgers have been consistent as always being contenders, always being a great team.
Is that like the Cowboys?
No.
Besides the Cowboys, always like, the 90s team.
You bring up a really great point. The Bulls don't get near the hate that the Cowboys do for living off that 90s legacy. The Cowboys get a ton of hate for it, and no one hates the Bulls. And I think it's because the Bulls were just such a great team. Like right now, the Packers are leading the Celtics 11 votes to 10. I voted for the Celtics. Again, it just comes down to overall success.
Yeah, with the history. I probably would have went with the Dodgers too, just because of the history of what, of the success that they had.
And like he allowed college teams in it. So like Alabama went against the Bruins. I voted for the Bruins. Again, overall, my thing is I'm looking at the big picture.
Bruins were part of the original six.
Right. I mean, I voted against my beloved Phils because they weren't the better franchise against the one they were going against, like I can disassociate my love of my team for the history of everyone.
Because, it's like if somebody, I would pick somebody over the Flyers just because they don't have, they have success, but not like, let's say, with the Maple Leafs, who I'm not sure if it's the Maple Leafs or Montreal Canadiens that have the most Stanley Cups. I forget which one does.
I want to say it's the Maple Leafs, but
I want to say too. I just don't remember the number. 20 something, I think. But still, yeah. I mean, I would pick Toronto over Philly just because of that history.
And for the record, Matt runs a really good tournament group. A lot of really awesome people in there. A lot of really good discussion. Some of it can get heated, especially on the pro wrestling ones. I
bet they can.
I don't get heated. I come at things from a different viewpoint than some people, and but that's half the fun is getting to know these people and their viewpoints. So if you're a friend of Matt, or you're a friend of me, or what have you, reach out, see if you can get in the tournament group. It's a lot of fun to participate in. He does, like I said, he runs a really good group of people and tournaments. So I want to touch upon that while we're talking about our tournament.
It's the Montreal Canadiens.
Oh, well, I was wrong.
So was I. They have 24.
Mm.
And Toronto has 13.
Oh, well.
And next in line is 11 with Detroit.
That makes sense.
So go figure, the top actually 5 for most Stanley Cups are original 6 teams.
That also makes a lot of sense.
So there's that.
Well, the tournament will get posted Monday morning, the first round, or the first semifinal match of the finals. Don't know who's going to be up first. It's going to be a game time decision on who goes against who in the first matchup of the semifinals.
Yeah, because this is going to be interesting to see how, with the pairings, it's going to be interesting.
I mean, I'm guaranteeing you right now, Fitzpatrick and Thornton aren't going to be a semifinal matchup. I kind of think they're going to be the finals, ?
Hey, you never know. I mean, we've been surprised before.
We have been, and it's been a lot of fun being surprised and seeing who goes through.
Yeah, especially on the topic at hand. But it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be fun.
It is. Yeah, very much so. Look forward to it.
So, but yeah, that's definitely it. There's definitely going to be more tournaments towards the end, or not towards the end, but towards the end of this one, going to something else.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to get back to a regular third period topic here, just to kind of let some room to breathe, and then get into another tournament. Yeah, these are fun.
Yeah, these are definitely interesting. But no, yeah, these 4 are definitely going to be a good one to really see who people vote for to push towards everything. So, but yeah, they're going to be posted on Facebook. They're going to be on the YouTube channel. Probably going to try to have all 4 of them just up if I can do it. All 4 of them up as we're talking about them throughout the whole third period.
Yeah.
This way you can see everything, and we'll see who wins. See who takes home the title from the leagues. So with that'd be the end of the third period.
I gotta say, before we wrap this up, Brad from Baseball Together said that we should call our shot, and whoever wins, try to get them to come on the show.
Yeah, that would be doubtful, but that'd be great.
That'd be hilarious. I would not expect it, but
that'd be completely. It'd be great. Don't get me wrong. It would definitely be awesome to have.
But I guess it's time to wrap this thing up. So quick plug to Adam Van and Joe Sposto of At Odds with Wrestling. You can find them wherever you get your podcasts. Join them for some great wrestling talk. Their homework segments are my favorites personally, because they annoy the crap out of each other with them. And Adam is just a straight up good guy. He's been, ever since, like I said last episode, ever since we became Facebook friends, he's voted in every single tournament poll that has come up.
Nice.
So I love every time I see him in there. That's awesome, because the A show really connected us and got us to know each other a little bit, and we support each other's shows. You can catch me every month on the Philly Baseball Together podcast with my co-host Tori. We recorded last Friday, the 21st of May, for our next episode, which will drop on the 1st of June. And that is under the Baseball Together Podcast Network banner, and you can find that wherever you get your podcasts. We talked about our favorite moments at games we've been to live. And we also talked about the retiring of the numbers for Utley, Rollins, Howard, and Hamels.
Oh. That's interesting.
We did not agree wholeheartedly on it.
Ooh.
Well, I looked at it from the stance that the Phillies are they don't retire just anyone's number. They're not like the Yankees, where like almost everyone's number gets retired. You get a jersey retirement. You get a jersey retirement. The Phillies only retire the jersey of someone who was into the Hall of Fame, the exception being Dick Allen, who's probably going to be Hall of Fame bound anyway, based on the Veterans Committee. So I took it, my argument was based on the Phillies' current stance, and his was on, hey, this is why I think they should. And I don't disagree with them. I just don't think they should retire just anyone's jersey number.
Well, yeah, normally you have to perform well. I mean, they're not going to retire Joe Schmo for just because he hit a ball,
right?
One or two times.
So that might be an ongoing debate on the show. But you can find that wherever you get your podcasts. It's under the Baseball Together Podcast Network umbrella. With that, thank you for joining us for episode 21 of the Not Another Sports Podcast. You can find us online at facebook.com/notanothersportspod. You can find us at YouTube. You can find us now on TikTok at NASPod20. You can find us on Twitter at NotAnotherSpore1. And that is one as in the numeral, not the word one. We're on Instagram at NASPod20. Please feel free to reach out, like, comment, message us. We love hearing from the listeners. The Not Another Sports Podcast is available for streaming or download at Anchor.fm, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, and wherever else you get your podcast. Please do not forget to subscribe, rate, and review. With that, I'm Jason.
I'm David.
We'll talk to you next time.
Have a good one.